I'm awesome.
I watched the TMNT movie. Man, was that movie bombastic. The first thing I thought was, when the movie started, maybe this movie is directed at 5-year-olds or tropical birds in human form, because it feels as though they were trying to be into the Spider-Verse with the art style and the humor, except the design choices for the characters, especially the human characters, look like those nasty, abhorrent Grubhub abominations that elicit extreme rage within me. Oh my freaking god. Just look, ew, fuck. Why do the humans look like this? Like, maybe it's a stylistic thing, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. It just take me off, man. That was one of the things that was driving me absolutely insane. Let me calm down. Also, I get that they're supposed to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but why do half their voices sound like nails on a chalkboard?
You know why.
Oh, that's right. They're all supposed to be weird and awkward, and oh my god, they're so relatable. Except for some reason, they don't really feel like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's probably because half their references are gonna be dated like in freaking 2 years. The milking jokes get old, the nipple jokes also get old. The evil Cynthia woman, for example, looks like a human version of Littlefoot or some stylistic brontosaurus. Her neck looks like a dick.
Look like a bitch.
April O'Neil looks like she could easily pass for one of the Ninja Turtles herself, and Superfly, played by Ice Cube, was the best part. But then something happened. As the movie progressed, it started to grow on me. It didn't feel as though the Ninja Turtles had any real depth, and I guess that's in line with their characters and how they're usually portrayed. And I'm so used to them looking badass that they were kind of annoying at first. Then they eventually became very endearing, and I started to see them as more than just copy-paste characters. Even though Raphael is my favorite, and I had a huge crush on him when I was little, I found that Leonardo in this one is actually my favorite. Somewhat. The movie was bright and colorful, and of course the studios went for the safe choice of making this into this Spider-Verse, but for Ninja Turtles. I guess when you do something really awesome, everyone wants to copy it, right? April O'Neil wasn't as half as annoying as I thought she was gonna be, even though she seemed very one-dimensional at times. And the other mutants were endearing as well, and more memorable than I thought they'd be. At least the Gecko was. Splinter was awesome, looking like Nigel Thornberry half the time, and he felt more like a real character, and it helped that he was also voiced by Jackie Chan. I absolutely love Jackie Chan, and I do feel like his voice was perfect for Splinter. So here's the main rundown of the movie. So the evil long-necked lady, who was an executive at Techno-Cosmic Research Institute, sends a hunting squad to reclaim her property from a rogue scientist. That scientist created a substance that mutates animals so that he could have a family. Yuck. His number one main piece in his first one was a baby fly who would later become
Superfly, super duper fly.
Well, he doesn't get to create the others because the strike force that long-necked lady sent them interrupted him, disgusting, which caused an explosion to happen and consequently caused the substance to fall into the sewers of New York. There's a time jump 15 years later where we see the teenage versions of the Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. And of course Splinter, who gives a backstory as to how he met them. While the baby turtles were growing up, they were so enamored with the human world, and Splinter wanted to make them happy, so he took them above ground where they were later hunted and attacked by humans. Ew. Poor Splinter was traumatized, and after having almost lost one of the baby turtles, with one almost being run over by a car and having those evil pesky humans treat them like monsters, Splinter decided that it wasn't safe and the sewers was the best place for them to be. But of course, in pure fashion, as is with all movies, the Ninja Turtles are like, we want to watch movies and screw human women because I mean that is kind of what they want to do. They always make references to female humans being hot, so I can see that being a thing down the line anyway. Splinter had also trained his sons in the art of ninjutsu for self-defense so that he could protect them and they can protect themselves. And the only reason he allows them to leave the sewer is to get supplies so they can survive. But every time they go to the surface, they see how humans live and they want to be like normal high schoolers. Eventually, the turtles run upon a gang of criminals and Leonardo falls in love with April O'Neil, aka weird-ass Grubhub turtle-shaped version, and they end up getting back her moped that was stolen from her. She becomes friends with them and says she's an aspiring journalist who wants to be redeemed because when she had the chance to go on camera at school, she started vomiting green sludge all over everywhere. This was actually like a comical recollection, especially when she was talking about how they memed her and the part with the rainbow flying out her mouth. That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, she's been investigating Superfly, a criminal who was stealing TCRI technology, that institute that we talked about earlier. So unbeknownst to their father, and of course, because they always have to do this in every movie, the Ninja Turtles work together in secret with April to take down this guy. And when they meet him, they find out he's a mutant. Sacre bleu, like them. Not only that, so is his family who's working with him. It's very sweet because they become friends, but then peer pressure takes over when they realize he's actually freaking insane and wants to kill every human on the planet. He watched humans kill his father and hunt down his family because they were mutants as well, so you can't really blame him because I'm sure a lot of us humans feel the same way about bugs and flies, especially, which is what makes this whole ordeal very ironic and poetic, because I'm sure we want to kill all flies as well. But anyway, unfortunately, the turtles realize they have to take him down because they don't want to kill all the humans, and eventually, Superfly's family also rejects this idea. I mean, he wants mutants to become the dominant species, and he also wants to make most of the organisms on Earth mutants as well, and enslave the humans, or eat them, or whatever. Unfortunately, when the turtles try to stop him, they're caught by those henchmen from the long-necked lady. Ew, and their blood is milked out of them, and I know that sounds freaking gross, but that's literally how they describe it, except it's green. Like, the milking joke is what stays consistent throughout this entire movie. April also abandoned them when they asked her for help, but we find out that she only did so that she could get their father Splinter, who comes in and saves them. Superfly's family and the turtles all work together to stop Superfly, but they end up knocking him and his machine into the water, like Dr. Octavius, which ends up mutating all nearby wildlife into a gigantic whale kaiju that basically is Super Duper Fly. I know it sounds really freaking weird. Of course, they take every opportunity to make references to Godzilla, and basically everything they think kids are gonna be like, oh my god, I know what you're talking about. Everyone's afraid of the mutants, and they also think that the turtles are a part of the problem, but April overcomes her fear, and even though she ends up throwing up anyway, she broadcasts that they're good mutants that are trying to help the humans stay safe from the bad mutant. These good mutants include the turtles, the rat, and all of Super Duper Fly's friends. Leonardo becomes a true leader and is no longer lame in Raphael's eyes. And then they start to realize each other for their gifts that we eventually see them have in the previous movies and stuff. The humans not only accept the Ninja Turtles and their friends, but help them and tag team them in what looks like a weird game of football to help the Ninja Turtles put the cure inside of Super Duper Fly's body. They end up defeating Superfly, and the other mutants move into the sewers with the Ninja Turtles, because we have to get a happily ever after. Since all the animals returned to normal when they defeated Superfly by giving him the cure substance, it only stands to reason that it would make sense that Superfly turned back into a regular housefly as well. We see the Ninja Turtles fulfill the dream of becoming high schoolers. Don't know why that's a dream. And they seem very happy, and my theory is confirmed when we see April and the Turtles at prom under surveillance from the villain who now has Superfly, but an unmutated version of him, and the plan is to capture the Ninja Turtles. Enter in the next character, Shredder, who will become the Ninja Turtles' arch nemesis. The movie ended up actually being okay. There were a lot of golden nuggets in the movie, such as the peer pressure part and having to do what's moral even when it's uncomfortable or when you have to go against your friends and family. I completely felt that. The references were kind of over the top, and I felt like I was watching the later seasons of Family Guy.
Nervous? Like when I had to sell pancakes to the school soccer captain? Pancakes for you, Captain?
I'll be the captain, and you be Tennille.
However, I did appreciate the Attack on Titan reference. That was badass. Especially, like, the emotional scene when the Ninja Turtles are slowly being crushed by Superfly in kaiju form. That was kind of crazy because I really felt for them, and I was hoping in that moment they would kind of lay off the thickness of the jokes, because you actually see their shells cracking, which... Ooh, that was kind of home for me, especially for those of you who follow me on Twitter. You know that my husband ran over a turtle, and we heard it crack, and ugh, okay, I don't want to talk about it. That made me feel like really sad for them. And then they tried to get into this brotherly love mode, but then they just end up making kind of a joke about it. And I'm like, you know, this is the moment in time where we're supposed to feel sorry for them, but you know, it's a kid's movie, I guess. And also the emotional part where Splinter is weak and trying to get the cure substance so he can help his boys, and a human walks up to him. We can see that he has severe PTSD from dealing with humans, but this human holds out his hand and asks if he needs help. When Splinter says yes and allows the human to help him, or help him stand up, we see the humans all around patting him and making sure he's okay, and I was tearing up. That was so beautiful, but also scary, because you realize that the only reason they're all helping is because they saw the news of April, who had taken over because the newscasters all ran away, by saying that, oh, he's one of the good mutants. Even if these stupid ass humans would have seen that with their own eyes. If the news had continued to say he was evil, these dumbasses would have continued being horrible towards the mutants and their family. It's like humans can't use their own eyes. And in the movie, they made it look as though humans were by nature instantly predatory and aggressive to anything they don't understand, which I'm guessing is not far from the truth, because in today's society, they do the exact same thing, even though they can observe with their eyes and you show them evidence of proof of certain things happening. But because the news says so, you know, you're wrong. It's like, bro, what? And I also don't understand why their first inclination would be to attack a giant rat in human form. That part did not make sense to me, especially when you consider that in the end of the freaking jizzing movie, they're all running away at the sight of them. So which is it? I guess there's something to be said about this taking place in New York, because I guess the movie's trying to say, like, by nature, New Yorkers are monsters or something, which is kind of ironic given that they're acting that way because they're afraid of monsters. But the eerily sad part is I kind of can attest to this because that's exactly how it felt when I moved from my country to the States and to New York. Of course, I didn't look like a freaking turtle, but my attitude was completely different from those around me, and the first thing that they wanted to do was bully me or beat me up for simply smiling at them or saying hello. Like, I'm a kid. I'm a small girl, and you're saying hello to a grown-ass man. Fuck you! I'm like, what in the world? Okay. What freaking alien planet is this where that is the response to someone smiling at you and saying hello? But I don't know. I just can't see city people seeing a gigantic rat and then first inclination, beat him up. Like, I mean, after all, it's something they're supposed to be used to seeing anyway, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, the movie was lively and filled with vibrant colors and served as just a charming and whimsical form of entertainment. Just something to go see if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, or if you just want to see something kind of fun that's not that memorable. The eye-catching animations was probably the best way to go with something like this because it's also more attention-grabbing, and I think it works more for this kind of story. The Ninja Turtles were the cutest thing about this, but Jesus Christ, were the humans' nightmare fuel. Also, the comedy might be a little bit too much for some people because the entire movie is just quirky and joke after joke after joke to the point where you don't really take anything that's happening seriously, but maybe that's on purpose for the target audience who is either kids or stupid people. I'm kidding. Maybe. I don't know. Also, I appreciate this movie for being short. I don't know what's going on with the 2-hour-long to 3-hour-long movies nowadays, but good grief. People can't even get a break to go to the goddamn bathroom. However, this movie felt like a cute little treat. It was in a neat package. It felt just like a good movie package or time period. Runtime. There you go. Felt like a movie, and it felt like a film. I appreciate that. It didn't feel like a freaking 11-hour video on YouTube that people use to fall asleep. This movie is also very fast-paced, and honestly, it feels more like a fan-made, modern, stylistic version of the Ninja Turtles than the actual Ninja Turtles. That being said, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't go back and watch it again. It's not my favorite Ninja Turtles movie by far, but I don't absolutely regret watching it, except for the freaking humans, but then again, it was very endearing watching the humans work together to help the mutants. That scene, they were all moving so fast, you didn't mind the fact that they were ugly because you couldn't really see them. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.